Welcome to Hotel Voices, a space for deeper conversations with the leaders reshaping hospitality from the inside out. Today, I'm joined by Tim Maxwell, and he's the founder of Island House. Is that correct?
Indeed, yeah.
Of course, a rare destination known for its timeless beauty, rich biodiversity, and deeply grounded energy. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much, Nikolina. It's nice to be here.
Tim, before we dive into design and guest experience, I would love to start with where you're heading, like your background a bit, your connection to the space, inspiration, and what's your North Star right now, what you are most focused on achieving over the next 6 to 12 months with Island House.
Sure. I suppose my journey began particularly when it comes to hospitality. Even during school, I was always fascinated by what was going on in the cafe, what was going on in the restaurant. Why were the chairs the way that they were? Why were the tables set out the way they were? And so ever since I was 16, I was working in cafes and then restaurants. And when I finished school, I immediately went into hospitality, where I was managing pubs and bars and then restaurants. And it took me to China as a consultant, and it's just been in my blood forever. And I suppose where that kind of intersects is my parents bought this really beautiful property on Lord Howe Island when I was 11 years old in 1999. I'm showing but it's a place of complete majestic beauty. It's a World Heritage site. There's a limit of 400 people that can live on the island at any one time, and there's a limit of 400 visitors that can come at any one time. So hopping on the plane there and seeing it for the first time, I'll never forget it. It smelled different, it sounded different. And so once I finished school and I had a few businesses myself in Sydney, my dad and we started talking. We said, it's time to make this place special. It's time to make this place, I suppose, as timeless as the island itself. And so that's something that we've been focusing on and working towards ever since 2017, so nearly 10 years. So yeah, 8 years we've been going for it now.
Amazing. And is there something specific you're trying to achieve over the next six or 12 months for the business?
Absolutely. I think that we opened 4 years ago, and we were very happy just to be able to welcome guests into that space and to see the site interact with our guests and learn from them. And I think neither my dad nor I have ever owned a true sort of luxury property before. And so it's something that we were kind of working towards and learning from the industry, how much we should be charging, what are the packages and service inclusions that are really important for our guests. And so over time, we've been refining. Over the last 4 years, we've been so lucky that we've had amazing celebrities boost the profile of it, but we've never done any marketing or PR or anything like that. And then just in the last 2 months, we've started to work with journalists to tell our story. And we're now really happy with where we sit from a price point, where we sit from a service perspective. And so the next 6 to 12 months is really infusing as much art, as much design, as much curated stays as we can that might be of interest to our guests and returning guests.
Island House feels more like a living and breathing sanctuary, right? How does that intimacy, the sense of staying in someone's creative, soulful space, impact your guests and inspire return visits? Do you have people coming back to you often?
We do. We're so lucky to have guests that have been coming to Island House for, God, how long would it be? 4 years. Every year that we've been open, they've come to stay for a week or sometimes 2. And I suppose it's, we've been working out different ways to describe our offering because it is a little bit different. It's not a hotel. It's not just a house stay. And so maybe it is a house hotel, but it is a living and breathing space. Absolutely.
Amazing. Let's talk a little bit now about we call it customer journey or guest journey in hospitality. So in terms of the full guest journey, before they arrive, while they're present, and even after they leave, what moments are you most intentional about shaping emotionally?
Yeah, well, I think it starts with recognizing that it's such a special privilege to be able to lead guests, groups and families on a journey that will inevitably, and what they hope and what we hope, be connective. It'll be something that is important, that hopefully they're creating memories, they're creating milestones, something that they remember. And to do this, what I really like to do is focus on, when we go on holiday, the top, if we imagine the experience like an onion, the top layer is like, I just need a break. That's the top layer. Then we build back another layer. And I think that that is more, okay, not only do I need a break, I need a change of scenery. I need something different around me. And then we peel back another layer. And then it's really recognizing who are we with and how can I connect with them. And then on the deepest layer, which is what I'm most, I suppose, interested in trying to get to with our guests and with our team, is what is the layer that makes you have an epiphany? What is the layer that makes you think, oh my God, I think I really want to marry this woman? Or, I need to have a chat with my daughter that I haven't been able to have, for 2 years. I've been waiting to actually reach, this conversation. And so to do that, and for our team to facilitate an experience that actually brings out these opportunities for this deep experience, this deep connective sector of travel that we hope to be in. It is about focusing on the small things. It's about focusing on the very little and important things that make sure that the guest can just stay in the zone. The guest can just stay in the zone of appreciation, understanding that they're in part of something that's quite different, and also they can stay connected to those they're traveling with. So that's our big focus, is to stay in that zone of connection.
Great, a great way of explaining. And my experience is in emotional design, and in the digital environment or in a digital universe, I've been hired by bigger companies on how we can actually connect deeply with the user, the guest, and triggering certain emotions without manipulating anybody, but actually the memories and this deep soulful connection is the most important thing. Now, in an age of constant voice, how important is space, silence, and deep nature to today's luxury traveler, and how does Island House hold that space from them?
I think that nature, seclusion, silence, these are all environments in which to bring out what I was speaking of earlier, of these epiphanies. And it's also an exercise in not being too egotistical, that you need the guest to experience your excellent furniture or your excellent art or your excellent adventure equipment or guides. Sometimes just allowing people time and space to really feel a sunset, to really smell the fresh fish that has just been put on the barbecue, and just with simple lemon, rather than telling them all of the different techniques that you put on the fish and this and that. Sometimes it's just do things simply yet very beautifully. And this brings out the emotion, this brings out the connection to nature. And I think we're so lucky where Island House is positioned on this World Heritage Island, where we've got, hundreds and hundreds of species of plants, birds, fish, coral that are nowhere else in the world. David Attenborough called it the Southern Galapagos. And, we're so lucky that we have access to all of this incredible nature, that our job is really not to get in the way of this. Our job is just to help them absorb it. But it's not for us to put our style or our stamp on it. That should just come from a place that is comfortable within us. And so we don't feel like we're trying to overprove who we are. We're just happy with who we are, what we're about, our style, our service. Let the rest, let nature do its course.
Amazing. And this is something that I always speak with hoteliers, and redefining luxury, what luxury really is nowadays. We have already moved away from the white gloves and the five-star hotels, that pretentious lifestyle or way of living, or the reason why a traveler will choose a destination, why they will choose the space, how this is going to make them feel, and of course, coming back to it. So Island House is artful without ever feeling over-designed, of course. How do you balance curation with comfort and avoid the trap of overproduction, as you just mentioned, or trend following, especially in the boutique luxury space? We're talking about this harmony and balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, to be honest, not getting too emotional about it, the most important thing is to be in balance with yourself. And I think that When my dad and I, we did 100% of all of the interior architecture design. We traveled to Europe, to Copenhagen, to Italy, to Japan to compile all of the furniture. We individually met with all of the artists, and we just have this big sense of curiosity that we want to tell these amazing designers and artists' story in a way that it's discovered. The story is discovered rather than us yelling and telling and yelling and telling. Let our guests' curiosity say, I love this chair. Where is this chair from? Or I love this artwork. Where is this artwork from? And so this is something for us that we want it to be discovered rather than to be yelling from the treetops about. And then I think what's also important is not just having these artists and these designers inside of our walls. I think it's important then to create opportunities for collaboration afterwards, because a hotel it's a living and breathing place. And so to have the artists stay within it, or for guests to be able to interact, I think that that's a really important element, not just quickly viewing it and then walking past. It's spend some time with it, really think about it. What's it make you feel?
Of course, and this is something that also in Europe is quite present. We speak a lot with people from France, northern side of Europe. Of course, we have some people we work with, like in the Mediterranean islands as well. But the connection, it's like we always say that hotels or a space where you invite people is like opening your house. This is hospitality. This is how you make them feel, no matter their financial background of the client. And I think this is the new level of everything. So the approach also with the influencers, the social media and all this rumor, and now it's AI influencers, that I think there was a boom the last 7 years. I've come across a lot of influencers that with a lot of respect, but they haven't found their exact voice. And it's just visiting hotels and getting views and likes. So the whole digital marketing, even if it's performance marketing or omni-channel marketing approach, has changed a lot. What we see is that hotels, spaces advertise more with purpose than targeting and over-targeting and competitors' audiences and all that stuff. So now we have AI. We've had AI in the past, but now it's massively adopted by any user. And so it's a big rumor around AI and becomes more integrated into hospitality for communication and personalization. How do you approach innovation while fiercely protecting Island House's essence of slowness, slow and natural connection?
I think it's very important as we embark in this whole new phase to really think and sit with what is the parts of my business, which inevitably is an extension of yourself. What is the important part to feel human and to feel human to human? And then what can be not human and provide efficiency to continue making me feel as I am. And so when it comes to service, when it comes to the nuance of understanding the dynamics between a group or a family, this is a human aspect. That's why some people might feel rushed and they just want to punch in numbers and get something, or some people might want to take time. And so you need to have that human element over it. But when we're in such a remote area, we're in the middle of between Australia and New Zealand, we're 780 kilometers into the sea. There needs to be efficiency. We have a very small team. We have a very small, I suppose, but multifaceted team where our chefs are also taking people on adventures. Our general manager is doing itineraries for people, picking up from the airport, serving them dinner. Everyone wears about 15 different hats. We're always looking for efficiencies. And, just not even in the experiential AI advertising marketing side, even just robotics, for example, the lawnmower that, can have LiDAR and, mows the lawn itself. Well, with a team of only 4 people, not having to mow the lawn is actually 1 hour every 3 days that someone now gains back. If it's, cleaning, if it's scheduling, if it's rostering, if it's, for me, using large language models to make sure that the voicing is correct and we don't need as many copywriters. All of these things, every step for efficiency should be made. And that's what we're really focused on as well.
And this is why human-centered design and the bigger companies are trying to approach us that we specialize in human-centered design in a sense of trying to kind of humanize technology as much as we can. Technology and AI, they don't have emotions. They won't be able to connect an instinct also, yeah? So there are human values. Thank God that they won't be able to mimic. They're here to support us. There are systems that they support a lot, the teams, no matter the size, of course. As long as someone is able to identify on the whole customer journey where to apply AI, where to balance the human to human, as you just mentioned.
Yeah, and I think it's also important is to really keep updated of what is happening for people. Like, for us to work out the best experience on the island and when people are on holiday, we actually need to understand what they're doing when they're not on holiday. And so if people are now implementing AI assistants, agents, all sorts of different logistical and planning things, we need to make sure that we are meeting them and their needs for when they're preparing for a holiday, when they're wanting to talk about it, inquire about it, all of these different things. So yeah, it's just as important for us as a business to understand what people are doing not on their holidays.
Of course, and targeting the right people, that they will sometimes people surprise us, and we've seen that. That's why in technology we iterate the systems and we iterate the campaigns and everything, targeting the right people that most likely they will appreciate, respect, and share their experience and the space, of course.
Yes.
It has been such a grounding and inspiring conversation, Tim. You know, Island House is proof of that luxury today isn't just about the offering, definitely not. It's about offering meaning and space, presence, and respecting the environment. And it's inspiring to see you, and thank you for sharing your background. I always believe in family business. I'm European, so for us it's, even in Australia, I've been here the last 15 years now. We have a presence in the US as well, but in Australia, you're trained to wear 15 hats, yeah? You mentioned that earlier. And this is something which is amazing because you're trained, you open your eyes, your heart, your ears. It makes you being alert and being able to serve and being served as well. Thank you.
No, it's been a pleasure and thank you so much. It's nice to always, talk about the different elements of a creation because sometimes you're just always in it here, but when you can talk about it overall, it's quite nice.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, you have a good day. All right. Bye-bye.